Hello, hello, everyone.
We love the Zoom shenanigans.
How's everybody doing? Good,
Doing
awesome,
great.
awesome, awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go ahead and approve. All right, we're just gonna get our Zoom all set up. Need to approve all of these AI note takers. This is the new craze. Everybody has a note taker for all these meetings. And we're gonna start the meeting summary. Very nice. And then, okay, I got host privileges. Nice. This is great. So, normally, we're at 7 minutes over, so I'm hoping everybody is here. We'd normally kick this thing off right at noon and just kind of have a little downtime to just say hello, let everybody know we're going to start in a couple minutes. But we might just dive right in. The first thing I'm going to do is if I could just ask folks to turn their cameras on if you can. One thing that really helps me personally as we start to go through this 2 hour workshop is I like to get a gauge on how people are understanding what we're presenting to folks. And the best way I find to do that is just by saying, does this make sense? And have everybody, either give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, give me any sort of hand signal, make a funny face, like whatever you want to do. But it trust me, it helps so much. So I really appreciate that. Uh, the other thing I'm going to do is I am going to see if I can move these AI note takers over to other screens so that I can
Well,
actually see human
let
beings
me
in
too.
here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and mute everybody, and we will get started in just one more minute. Let me just set all this up, make sure I can see all of your faces. Okay, the things we need to do to prep a Zoom. All right. So looks like I can see a full group of human beings. That's awesome. Even though we do have a few AI companions in our chat, welcome AI companions as well. My name is Luis, and I am very excited to show you a bit about building AI agents. We're going to specifically look at some of the fundamental skills used to create these AI agents, and then I'm going to show you a little bit about our platform, MindStudio, and we're going to, in fact, build several agents here live just to show you how simple it is to get started building your very own AI agents. So before we dive in, I assume everybody has used ChatGPT or some sort of chat client before. Yes? Has anyone tried to build an AI agent for themselves before? Any hands? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, great. So then that's perfect. That gives me a good baseline to start off with because sometimes we run these sessions. There are folks that have, just heard of ChatGPT and found this session. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome, everybody. My name is Luis. I am the director of product here at MindStudio. And again, I'm very excited to show you all a bit about building AI agents, a bit about our platform, and show you how easy it is to get started building your own agents, along with kind of the depth of features that you get access to here. We're going to have a chat open, and we have several people here joining us from both the MindStudio team and the MindStudio community. Thank you guys so much for showing up. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a question in the general chat. Someone from the team or from the community will answer a question, and I'll also pause periodically to take questions. And then don't forget that this is not just a session to learn, but also a session to network. So feel free. I highly encourage you. Leave a little introduction about yourself in the chat. Feel free to leave a LinkedIn link in the chat. You know, we're all here to collaborate, to learn from one another. And we all, you know, I tell people what I'm going to show you is just things that I have learned as I've been building. These are best practices that I've found. This is a completely new space, and we're all kind of learning together. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and tell you a little bit about our platform. MindStudio is a platform that allows you to build really powerful AI agents, not for yourself, for your team, for business. We are an AI automation platform. So we allow you to design, build, and deploy your very own AI agents. It's a no code, low code development environment. So we'll show you what that looks like in a second, but essentially you have this workflow. You kind of drag and drop elements into the workflow that can perform specific functions. And we have a bunch of people that are currently using our platform for various types of tasks, whether that's, you know, Intel or His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, that's the British IRS or Adobe. And a lot of times, when people think about MindStudio and bundle us and compare us to other tools, they typically end up comparing us to a platform called N8N. It's another automation platform. And what MindStudio is an AI native workflow automation. So what we're currently working on that N8N has on us is basically all of the integration library. So connecting to all of these different third-party tools and services. And while our library is large, we have over a thousand different connectors. You know, they've just had a lot more time in the space. So if you're looking to just connect to hundreds and thousands of different services, you can use N8N and MindStudio together. They work like chocolate and peanut butter. And you can use the just MindStudio by itself and connect to any service as well, just via API or anything like that. Um, we believe that it makes it easier and faster to build these AI native workflow automations. And MindStudio allows you to instantly use over 200 different AI models when you build these agents. You don't need to connect your own API keys. We have enterprise agreements with all of the major model providers. That includes Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, Perplexity, you know, Meta, all of the AI models that you hear about releasing in tech news. We have access to all of them, and as soon as a new model is released, we typically get that model live on MindStudio within 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. So I think the most recent model we got live, Lewis, can you remind us what model that was? It was
Yeah,
I think it was
I can remind you. We just this week released two big releases by Google.
that's
Gemini
right.
3 on Wednesday, and then Nano Banana Pro yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Both on the same day that they were released publicly.
Yeah. So super cool. Basically, thanks, Lewis, as soon as these providers release a new model and make it available for API, we work really hard to just make sure that model's just instantly available on MindStudio. And getting started is really easy. We offer different plans. We have a free plan. We have that is free forever. You can play around. You can build your own custom agents. You get full access to the platform. You know, only a couple of gated features like additional triggers or embedding and things like that. You can also get a free trial of our individual plan. That's kind of the full suite of features. And then for anything else like specific enterprise requirements, you can just have a conversation with us, talk to us about what you're looking for specifically. There's a bunch of other stuff on our homepage that is interesting, but what I really want to talk through here is the types of AI agents that you can build. And so when we talk about AI agents, just the term AI agents, I really boil it down to if we just break apart those two words, AI, it calls an AI model, agent, it does something on your behalf. And I like to use that definition because it gives us a very broad definition of what an AI agent can be. And on MindStudio, you can deploy AI agents in a bunch of different ways. And we're going to explore a couple of those ways in just a second, but kind of to lay the foundation of the things that you can build on MindStudio, you have these AI powered web apps. These are unique links. They're their own site. You can copy the link and share it with other people, but you go to that link, you use the AI agent from the web. You can have agents that run autonomously, so on a regular schedule. For those of you that are a bit more technical, it's kind of like a cron job. These agents, you can say, run at 8 a.m. every morning and monitor this particular website, tell me if anything's changed in the terms of service of this product or whatever, right? It allows you to kind of take these things, analyze and scan content from the web, or do whatever you want on a regular schedule. We also have a browser extension. That's this little side like bar here. And this opens up a side panel that allows you to run any AI agent that you build on whatever web page you're on. And so it can take context from the web page that you're currently viewing, use that content, process it in some way, and create an output for you. What's really nice is that unlike something that needs to scrape the web programmatically, this actually pulls the information from the page that you're directly looking at. So it doesn't need to actually do any scraping because you can already see that information. And so for things that are blocked by, authentication, like LinkedIn, for example, you need to sign in to use LinkedIn. Now you can just have this extension and you get access to all of these magic buttons. These are all individual agents that you can click on and run, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. You can also send these agents, configure these agents to have a unique email address. So this essentially triggers the agent. You send your email thread to that particular email address. The email message is sent into the agent as context, and it can process and create an output for you, and even email you back with its output if you'd like it to. And then, of course, you can trigger these agents via webhook from third-party services. I use this a lot on Notion, or in your own code apps via an API endpoint that you can expose for that particular agent. This is more for technical people. We're not really going to cover this in this session. And then lastly, you can make your agents available for use in MCP. So for example, if you have a preferred chat client like Anthropic Chat or ChatGPT, and they allow for MCP, you can make this process available in that MCP workflow. So you can essentially just make that tool available while you're chatting with your chat client. So there's a bunch of features that are all really cool. I recommend that you check out the full list of features. There's a bunch of them in here. And then the other thing to note is that we are venture backed. We have a big list of interesting investors, including the former CEO of Disney, the founder of Zynga. There's a big list of interesting people, as well as several venture capital funds that have funded us. We've raised $36 million to date. So enough of MindStudio and kind of giving you this overview. I really want this session to be very practical. And so what I'm going to show you is a couple of demos. And then I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to show you how to actually build one of these. We're going to build a couple of these and I'll give you some foundational skills that you can take with you and start building AI agents, in the next hour after this if you really want to. The first is I want to show you these agents inside of the Chrome extension. And these agents, again, work on any web page. So here I am on The Verge, and I have this agent here, this little lightning bolt. It's called TLDR, and this is a super basic agent. What it does is it extracts all of the key points and the learnings from the page, takes all the content, and of course this works on any traditional web page. What like a blog post is what I would consider a traditional web page. And you can see here on the right hand side, that the a side panel opens up and it takes the content from that page, gives me a summary, extracts all of the people and entities mentioned, and of course this can be configured. This is all just configured via a prompt to an AI model. But this doesn't just work on traditional pages, it also works in places like YouTube, for example. So if I wanted to, you know, this is a 2 hour long podcast, and I love listening to podcasts. I get a bunch of podcasts sent to me, but I don't necessarily have time to watch every 2 hour podcast that comes my way. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to learn about the key messages in that podcast, right? So I can simply use that very same agent that's able to pull the transcript from that YouTube video. I click on the agent. It analyzes that transcript from the video, extracts all of the key points from this 2 hour long video, and the people mentioned. It does the exact same thing, um, but it's able to use the transcript from the YouTube video. And then lastly, this also works on PDFs that you view online. So if you take a look at like financial statements or, for example, like a full novel, you can run that same agent. Click the TLDR button. We've got our magic button pinned here, and it will take all of the content from this book and summarize it, give me all of the key people and entities mentioned from the page. It does the exact same thing. It's configured to do the same thing, but the context is different, right? And it's able to process the entirety of that text from the page because we use models that have a very large context window and allow us to upload these full novels as context and things like that. So you can see we have a full uh, a full summary of this. So this agent is really easy to build. In fact, we can probably build it in, less than 5 minutes. Probably going to take me more than 5 minutes because I'm going to explain how to do it. But let's go ahead and just build something like this. And the way that we're going to do that, I'm just simply going to go to MindStudio and I will click on, once you create an account, you'll be taken to this page. This is called your workspace. And then you have this button at the top right. It says create new agent. So we click on that button. Let me make sure I'm in the correct workspace because you can have multiple workspaces. And I click create new agent. And then I'm taken to the AI editor. This is an IDE for creating AI agents. We get taken to this welcome page that gives us access to learning resources. So if this is your first time building, you can check out our getting started video. You can take a look at, MindStudio University. This is like a full video course that I've put together. That covers A to Z everything you need to know about building AI agents. Each thing has a little video in there and guides. So it's a bunch of really rich learning resources as well as our product documentation. And we offer boot camps and trainings, and we have a community forum and a Slack channel. All that stuff we'll talk about a bit later. But you see this welcome screen. We actually are going to close this welcome screen and we'll be taken to this main.flow. This is our workflow. This is where we build out everything that our AI agent is going to do. And our workflows are pretty much all going to be have the same general structure. Workflows in MindStudio, they have a start block. This initializes the workflow. There's an end block that concludes the workflow run, and then there's everything in between. I'll zoom in a little bit so that we can see everything. There's everything in between, and we can add other blocks in between these two blocks using this plus button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this plus button, and I'll click on this generate text option. And this is going to add another block to our workflow. You can see if you keep adding these clicking on these plus buttons, there are a bunch of what we would consider the most commonly used blocks up front and center. But if you click on view all blocks, we actually have a library of over 100 different blocks that do all kinds of different things. Some of those things make a call to an AI model and some of them don't. So in this generate category, we can generate text and images and videos and, HTML assets. You can, analyze videos and transcribe audio, all that good stuff. You can gather data from a bunch of different places. You can route the workflow in different ways and create branching paths. So if you're really into like automation and RPA and all that stuff, you got all those same capabilities here. And then you can fetch data from all different sources like social media or Google, or you can, send emails or post to Slack and, everything in between, right? Enrich contacts, campaigns, post videos, bunch of stuff here. But the most common block that you're going to use when building workflows is this generate text block. And this generate text block makes a call to an AI model. And if we click on the block, you can see that we're able to prompt the AI model in this prompt, this configuration panel on the right-hand side under prompt, right? And this is where we can begin to give instructions to the AI model for what we want to build. Now, for those that have worked with ChatGPT and other chat clients, this is all going to sound really familiar, but for those that where this is the first time you're working with AI models, I want to give you all just some foundational knowledge about writing prompts for an AI model. And I break it up into three individual pieces. There's the context. That's information, contextual information that you want the AI model to know about. There's the task, the thing that you actually want the AI model to do. And then there is the output, the response format, how you want that output to look, to sound, to feel, etc. Right? So if we take that framework, we can apply it to our prompt. Now, in this case, remember what we are building is an AI agent that can take the content from any web page and process it, extract all of the key learnings from the web page. And to do that, we actually need to configure, before we even write our prompt, we need to configure a way to get the information from that web page. Well, if we click on this start block, you'll notice that this in this trigger section, there's this thing called the run mode. And the run mode is going to determine the type of AI agent that you're building. So all of those types that we kind of reviewed at the beginning of on the home page, we can see here. So we have on demand, we have scheduled runs, we have the browser extension, which is able to pull the context from the web page, emails, webhooks, package workflows, etc. We're going to use this browser extension run mode here. And the browser extension run mode, you can see when I switched it over to the browser extension run mode, filled out this section called launch variables. Now, variables are super simple. Basically, when we think of variables, we kind of go back to eighth grade, ninth grade when we took algebra and we said x equals this and y equals that. Variables work in the exact same way, only what we're saying is URL equals and then the value of that URL, the actual URL, right? So we get access to these specific pieces of information as we're browsing the web, the URL, any metadata from the page. We can get the page content, which is the one that we're going to be using that fetches all of the main content from that web page, as well as a bunch of other things. And you can set your own launch variables. We don't really cover that in this 2-hour intro session. What we're going to be focused on is using this page content variable. And what that page content variable represents is all of the text content on the page. So it's kind of like going to this page here and clicking Command A and clicking copy and pasting that into our AI prompt, right, in our generate text block. And so what we're going to do is we're going to call that variable. And the way that we call that variable is just by using these double curly braces on our keyboard. And that's going to give us access to all of the different variables. So you can see here that we can get the page content variable here. And now we're calling in all of the content from whatever web page we are on. For those that don't know where to find those curly braces, it is right above the Enter key on your keyboard. And we want to make sure we open and close them like this. So there's our context, part one of our framework. Part two of our framework, we need to give it a task. We need to give it something to do. So you can say extract all key learnings from the content above, right? And that's it. That's all we need to do in order to create our AI agent. Now, granted, this is a very simple prompt. We're going to get a little more specific as we continue building out these AI agents. But to start off, this is perfectly fine. And it will actually get you, a very high quality result. Now, the other thing that we need to do that we haven't talked about, we briefly talked about it, is we need to choose our AI model. We need to choose the AI model that we want to actually make a call to. Now, we have a couple of different ways in order to select models. We can go into this model settings tab here at the top, and you can see I'm using Gemini 2.5 Flash. I have this set as my default model. But if we click on this, we actually get a full menu of all of the available models from these various providers. And I've favorited a few of them here at the top. You can see I have Claude Force on it that we can use, and you can compare these models really easily. There is you can see the cost of the models underneath. So the way that MindStudio works is you can use the platform, but then we also bill for usage. It's kind of like the electric company. If you turn a light on, then you get billed for the electricity that's used. Same thing happens here inside of MindStudio. We don't mark up the model cost at all. It's just passed to you at cost. So you can use as many tokens as you'd like. We provide the price of those prompting and response tokens here. And you can also see other things. There are other factors to consider when choosing an AI model, right? There is the obviously the cost is the first one. There's the quality of its responses. There's the latency, how fast these models are able to produce an output for you. And then there's this thing called the context window, which indicates how much information we can actually pass through the model in one individual call. So we have a really good tool to compare and contrast these models. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this on Gemini 2.5 Flash. In a lot of cases, I like to use it because it has an extremely large context window, and so it allows you to bring in up to 1 million tokens. And what a token is pretty simple. You can equate the number of words in a piece of text as 3/4 the amount of tokens. So what that means is if I type in here under max response size 100 tokens, you can see that this equates, it might be a little small and hard to see, but you can see this equates to 75 words, right? So I put in 4 tokens, that's 3 words in a piece of text, roughly, right? And so with larger context windows, you're able to bring in much more information for your calls, right? So that's why I'm able to look at an entire novel and bring all of that in as contextual information. So I'm going to keep this at 2.5 Flash. The other thing that's really nice about MindStudio, there's a couple of other settings here. You can adjust the temperature of the models, and that's controls the amount of randomness in the model's response. If the temperature is set all the way to the top, you'll see you get a little unstable warning, and what that means is it might produce garbled text or gibberish. The lower the temperature typically means that given the same prompt, it will produce nearly the same response. So closer to 0 is most likely to return similar responses. The sweet spot is between zero point 0.5 and zero point 0.8 in my, humble opinion. Anywhere in that range, you're good, and then you can obviously determine the max response size of these models. This is how much it will output overall. You can turn this all the way up if you want to. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to produce that much. That it's going to actually produce that amount of text. You'll see in just a second. And then some of these also have a reasoning budget. We call it a reasoning or a thinking budget, and that is for more advanced models that have what we call reasoning capabilities, where it thinks through the response. Um, while we're on the topic of AI models, I know I promise I'll get back to this generate text block in a second, but you we have a lot of tools on MindStudio that allow you to very easily compare and contrast AI models against one another. And if we look at this profiler tab, we can actually put two different models side by side and give them the same prompt. So here I have Gemini 2.5 Flash. Let's say I want to compare that against Claude 4 Sonnet. And you can add as many models to compare against each other as you'd like. So if I click on new profile, now I have three. Let's click on one more and let's compare four models side by side all at the same time. So we'll do GPT 4.1 Mini against Gemini 2.5 Flash, against Claude 4 Sonnet, against, let's say, mm, do, 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 do. Maybe we want to try a perplexity model. We'll try Sonar. And we can then type in a prompt here. We can say, write me a long story um, about a dog and a race car. You'll find that in my demos, I typically will do a few things. I'll say like dog or race car or space travel or things like that. And you can see how when I click enter, what that response looks like. And so right away, we're able to compare and contrast these models side by side according to these different criteria. You can see the model's response, like the latency of these models. In a second, we're going to be able to see how, in this case, how long it took to finish its response, the length of its response, the quality of that particular AI model's response. And we also get insights into the cost given this prompt, right? So at the very bottom, we can see that this used 12 tokens prompt and 2,100 tokens response. And in total, it cost us, about half of a cent in order to run this Gemini 2.5 Flash. And if we, let's see here, let me just refresh my page really quick. If we scroll back up, oh, it looks like it's still loading in. This might take a second to load in. There we go. Claude 4 Sonnet was just taking its sweet time, so it actually hadn't finished. And I probably should have said produce a short story about a dog and a race car.
Can I ask a quick question?
But uh, what's nice about this is you get that direct comparison. Um, and a lot of people will ask kind of what models do you recommend? What's the best place to start? Any my uh oh sorry, Vikesh, I see you. Just 1 second and then I'll pause for a question. Um, so people ask what's the best model to use? Typically, what I recommend is any of what I call the big three. So that is Google, that is Anthropic, and that is OpenAI. You can't really go wrong with any model from, those three major providers. If you want something more specific, some models, like the models from Perplexity, have access to search the web and things like that. So that might be something you might be interested in. I myself tend to use Gemini 2.5 Flash a lot and Gemini 2.5 Pro a lot. And the reason for that, again, is because of this large context window. I can pack in a bunch of information and it's still able to produce um, the similar results. Now, some people will tell you that, Anthropic produces more human sounding writing. It really is a matter of personal preference. And at the end of the day, cost should be a consideration as you're building these things. But, typically for any AI agents that you build, the cost per run is gonna be, fractions of a cent usually. If you're running more intensive tasks that are not model related, it might cost a bit more depending on the event that you choose. So Let me just pause. Vikesh, you have a question?
Hey, Lewis, thanks for that very informative session. I think I got my question answered by the way you were talking it. My question was how to add new profiles to compare. Like you added four panes to compare. I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
get the additional panes, but I figured out at the bottom left. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you can compare all of these side by side, and you can obviously see, if we were to compare these together, that Sonar and GPT 4.1 Mini produced the shortest responses. We could judge them on the actual output, right? It looks like Claude produced, Markdown with like a chapter title, and then if we look at the final cost of these things, we could see that do, 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 GPT 4.1 Mini cost about a cent. Sonar cost about a cent. Looks like Gemini 2.5 Flash and Claude 4 Sonnet were the two cheapest. Maybe Gemini 2.5 Flash. This actually cost about 6 cents for this model call. So really useful tool. Highly recommend. Keep in mind all this testing. It does incur usage, but again, fractions of a penny depending on what you prompt it with. So now that we've kind of determined Gemini 2.5 Flash is the model that we want to use, oh wow, excuse me, use, we can go ahead and continue building our AI agent. We want to make sure that we use Gemini 2.5 Flash. The other thing that's important to note is that you can have multiple models as part of the same workflow. So if you have multiple steps that call an AI model, you might opt to use Gemini 2.5, one model for one task and another model for a different task. And it's really easy to kind of mix and match based off of what you are trying to accomplish. You can see I have two generate text blocks. All I need to do is simply select a different model. And now this one is using Claude 4 Sonnet, and this step is using 2.5 Flash, right? So I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we're all done. We just need to name our AI agent. We can do that very easily by clicking on the name at the top or clicking on this folder here on the left-hand side. And we can give our agent a name. I'm going to call this extract insights. Maybe I'll call this demo extract insights so I can easily find it. And of course, there are, oh, I see some folks drawing. Try not to draw on my screen. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and clear all drawings. Thank you very much. There's a bunch of other stuff here. You can add an agent icon. If you're planning on sharing this with others, you can add a social graph image, give it a short description. You can make landing pages for your AI agents. You get to choose who has access to these AI agents. So if, for example, you're collaborating with other people on a business account, you can share this with your workspace. You can determine whether or not this agent is remixable. So you can essentially make a template of an agent and then send that remix link over to someone so that they can make a copy and modify that agent for themselves. And then do things like set usage limits, right? If you don't want your agent spending a certain amount in each month, you can set that per user budget or a lifetime budget for that particular agent. There's a bunch of stuff in here that's really useful. When we're ready to publish, all we need to do is hit that publish button. And with just that click, it's going to deploy this agent, and the agent will be live. We can begin using it right away. So you'll see here that it says OpenAI agent. The changes were deployed successfully. However, this agent, even though we opened it on a web page, is actually designed for the Chrome extension. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to one of these pages and I will click on this MindStudio icon here, and that's going to open up um, the side panel. Now, the side panel doesn't just give us access to the agents we've built. We actually have a library of hundreds of different agents that do all kinds of different things, including, deep research, which we'll look at in a second. We have the TLDR that I showed you. You can turn content into, other forms of content, like repurpose content in a bunch of ways. There's a bunch of useful stuff in here, and I'll show you one more, like a complex agent in just a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click and find the agent that I just created by typing in demo. Let's see, demo extract insights. Here it is. And I can click on it and it will begin running on our page, right? Now we can also pin this agent to our extension by clicking on these three dots and clicking pin in extension. And now you can see that when I open this up, our extract insights agent is now available as the bottom button. So we can sort of configure our tool belt of magic buttons as we browse the web really, really easily. And you can see that we get this really detailed summary about all of the key learnings from this particular video, right? The harsh truth about horoscopes. So really easy to create these agents. Let's go back and I'm going to create another agent, and we're going to use the one we just built as our template. So what I'm going to do is we will turn on, I have the agent page here. Uh, it's remix. This thing called remixing is turned on by default, but we have this option to make a copy of this agent. So I'm going to click on make a copy and we will modify the agent a little bit. Now we will always get this welcome screen, but in our main flow, you can see that everything has been copied over. And what's really nice is you can actually copy and paste, individual portions of workflows, makes it really easy to kind of share the things that you've built. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and maybe we, instead of um, extracting insights from a page, maybe I want to change this agent and turn it into a stock analyzer, right? Like to have it create a financial report on the stock. Like if I went to something like Yahoo Finance, for example, and I clicked on a stock, let's say I wanted to see the top stocks here. What's a good stock? Okay, we've got Google, right? So if I look at Alphabet Inc., I could run this extract insights agent and it could produce something for me. But let's say I wanted it to specifically create a fundamental analysis on this stock and give me recommendations on whether or not it's a good time to buy based off of the information on this page. That includes all of the stock data for the day, all of the headlines, et cetera, the performance, any other recommendations on this page. Well, we just made a copy of our agent. I'm going to go ahead and rename it, and we'll, instead of extract insights, we'll call it demo um, stock analyzer. And in our workflow here, I'm going to add a couple of things. Instead of extract all key learnings, maybe I can change the task, and I can use inside of my prompt. This is kind of a more advanced prompting technique, but there's this technique that we call tagging, and tagging basically applies a label to a specific piece of content within our prompt, and it uses these angled brackets, right? So I can label it whatever I want. So I'm going to call this stock info. And you always have opening and closing tags. Uh, and this is super useful because then we can refer to this without actually pasting all of that information in. So I can say analyze stock info and uh, create a fundamental analysis of this stock. Then, based on the info analyzed, uh, give a recommendation as to whether it is a good time to buy the stock or not. So this is not the greatest of prompts, but you can see we're adding a couple, just a little more information. We've given some tags to this so that we've clearly delineated what is the contextual information and what is the task. And this also supports a language called Markdown. Who's heard of Markdown before? Have people used Markdown? Okay, it's super simple. For those that don't know what Markdown is, if you go into Docs and you you can select, see how it says normal text or a title or a heading. It's just a way to format the text, just like you would here. Only we use specific symbols to do that. And so I like to use Markdown to just this doesn't help the prompt at all, but what it does is it organizes my own writing as I'm writing prompts. So I can then say, oh, that's the section where I wrote the task, and here's the section where I wrote about the output, right? Really just helps kind of, or it makes your prompt more readable, which is helpful if you're trying to share this prompt with somebody else, right? Um, and then for the output, I'm going to say use Markdown in your response. Okay. And just like that, we have finished building our stock analyzer. We don't need to change anything here because we already have this set as the browser extension. Let's go ahead and publish this. And maybe so we don't get confused, open this agent. And I'm just going to also pin this. Well, let's give it a different icon. I think it's pulling the same icon. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to look on a site, to find an icon. I like to use a flat icon, and I can just type in like money or something like that and see what is generated here. Okay, great. This is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and download this as a PNG. It's for my personal use, so I'm gonna quickly go in and we'll just upload this money PNG just so we can uh, make it stand out when we paste it in. So now we can open up this agent and we can pin it to our extension again. Here I have the three dots. I can click on pin in extension. And now all of this is pinned. So let me go ahead and close all of these extra tabs out. We'll just make this look a little bit nicer. So if I refresh this page, I now have at the very bottom my demo stock analyzer pinned. It's my magic button for my stocks, and it's going to tell me whether or not it's a good time to, buy some Google stock. So let's go ahead and click on that and see what it outputs. So here's the fundamental analysis of the Google stock. Business overview, it gives us recent performance, strengths and competitive advantages, a bunch of metrics, risks, etc. Is it a good time to buy based on the analysis? It is likely not the optimal time for new investors to initiate a significant buy position at the current price, right? So obviously, like this generated a bunch of stuff. I am not a financial analyst, but if I were a financial analyst, it'd be very easy to modify the prompt here to include exactly what we're looking for as the output, to highlight specific criteria we're looking for within the page. And it's even with this simple prompt, you can see that the output here is amazing, right? It's able to produce this like very high quality output based off of a fairly simple prompt. And the more complex you create your prompt, the more specific your output is going to be, and you can get it to output, a wide variety of things. Um, so just with this one block pattern, you're able to make incredible agents that are able to pull content from the web and uh, and do something with that content. Right now, it can create an analysis, but let's take this even one step further. I'm going to go ahead and I'll remix this agent one more time. Or maybe we'll actually just start from scratch and build a new agent. And in this agent, let's say we don't want to analyze a stock, but instead we want to go maybe to um, we want to go to The Verge, and based off of an article that we find, we want to actually have it generate a LinkedIn post for us, and we want it to post automatically if as long as we approve the content of that post. Something like that's also really easy to do. So we're going to build this agent really quick. Again, I click on the start button. I determine the type of agent that I'm building. So I'm building one for the browser extension. That gives me this page content that I can use. And then I can generate text and I can include my prompt. So I'm going to say content and just create the label really quick. By the way, these taggings, like these XML tags that, again, I just want to reiterate, not really code. It's more just like labeling the thing, and it's actually recommended by model providers to format your prompts in this way if you're including contextual information like this. Um, I use those double curly braces, and I call the page content variable, so now it has content from the page, and then I can say based on content, write a compelling LinkedIn post that I uh, can uh, post to my personal uh, profile. Go, we'll add the task. And then for the output, a lot of times it will take content on the web page. And actually, if we were to run this by itself, let me just call this, whoops, we'll call this demo LinkedIn post generator. And if I were to publish this and pin it to my extension, come on, let's publish this thing. Okay. If I were to publish this and pin it to the extension, and then I were to run it on this page, you'll notice it's not going to post to LinkedIn automatically. We're going to set that up in a second, but the output is this is not optimal for LinkedIn, right? In fact, it's saying here are a few options for a compelling LinkedIn post, right? And then it gives me option one, and then it gives me option two, and then it gives me option three. And I just want the text, the actual text that we're gonna use from the post itself, right? I don't want to deal with all of this stuff. I just wanted to make a decision, make something that sounds good, right? Well, we can take this output and using our prompting skills, we can actually format this in the way that we like. So I can say, output. We can say reply with only the text for one LinkedIn post and nothing else. And then we can say something like, have a bullet point. We'll say use emojis. And then and that's it. Let's we can publish this. Let's run this one more time. So once it's published, we can go ahead and kick off a new run. Click on these three dots here and click new run. And it will run again. And then this time, you can see that we just get that one post, right? We're able to really quickly and really easily format the response for exactly what we want. So now we have the response being formatted. Now what we need to do is we need to actually add a step to post to LinkedIn. So the way I do that is I can just look through the other blocks and I can type in LinkedIn. And you can see that we have a block called Create LinkedIn Post. When we click on that block, you'll need to sign in to LinkedIn, in order to use this post. But I'm already signed in. But if you're not, you can click on Create New Account. It will present you a LinkedIn login where you authorize MindStudio to post on your behalf. I already did that, so I'm just going to click on my profile here. And then it's going to say, what's the message content? Well, what's nice about MindStudio and every step in MindStudio is in addition to simply displaying the output of an AI model, you can also save that output as a variable, right? So instead of displaying to user here, I can click on save to variable, and then I can call my variable post, right? I'm giving it a variable name. This is the same. We're saying post equals this right here, right? And so we can use that later in our workflow. So I can use those double curly braces on the post, and now it's going to post to LinkedIn automatically on my behalf. Well, that's all great, except I don't want it to post on my behalf automatically. I want to review the thing before I post it to LinkedIn. So I am going to add another block in between, an intermediary block, and I can simply display the content using this display content block, and that's basically saying print. Print whatever's in here. So I want it to print the post first. Okay, now let's go ahead and publish this one more time. And if I were to, let's see, did it publish? Yes, it did. Okay. If I were to run this again, it's going to generate it and display that content for me. So it'll look the same, but it'll actually have this this next button. And if I were to click that next button, it would actually post directly to my LinkedIn profile, right? Now, let's say I wanted to actually, make edits to this before. Well, instead of using this create LinkedIn post, excuse me, instead of using this display content block, we have a bunch of blocks specifically for human in the loop interactions like this. You can there are things like user inputs that allow you to actually collect information via kind of a Google Forms style form at the wherever you want in your workflow. Just a bunch of form fields to collect information during the run. But we also have this thing called a checkpoint block, and this checkpoint block will, if we set it to revise variable, actually let us, take a look at the post. We have a full tutorial on this. This is less about like, you should do this right away. I don't expect everybody to just pick up the checkpoint block immediately. I know there's a bunch of fields here that we're not really going to talk through. Um, but basically, you're able to then say, okay, this post is the target variable that I want to review. And then if it's approved, I can route it to this LinkedIn post by clicking on this button and then clicking where I want it to go. And if it's not approved, I on reject, just end the workflow. And so now what's going to happen if we put the title, you know, uh, how does this post look? Let's go ahead and publish this one more time. One second, it's just saving, and once it finishes saving, we will be able to publish this. There we go. So now if we were to run this one more time, we could click on our LinkedIn post generator. And by the way, this side panel can expand as big as you want it to be, right? Could take up the whole page if you wanted it to. And now we have this area where we can approve it. We can continue chatting to request modifications. So if I just wanted to say, make this sound um, more controversial, that's not right. Make this, I want it to more opinionated, I think is the word. Opinionated. I can have a chat conversation and it can revise on the fly, right? Or we can also edit this manually by clicking this edit manually button and make changes here. And when we save those changes, now our variable looks like this with this additional line and any other edits we make. And now when we click approve, it will post to my LinkedIn. Now, again, I'm not going to post this to LinkedIn. Well, I guess I can delete it, but if I click approve, it will post to LinkedIn. Then if I go to my LinkedIn profile, let's see here, if I go to my profile, you can see here that I now have, this beautiful post at the very bottom of my LinkedIn. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I have no clue what I said, and I just asked it to say something opinionated. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that before I get in trouble on the internet, because that lasts forever on the internet. Okay. I'm gonna quickly pause here because I know there's probably a bunch of questions, or there might be questions about specific features or about MindStudio. We're going to take a pause. Feel free to raise your hand, or Josh, if you've been monitoring the chat, or Lewis, if you've been monitoring the chat and seeing if people have questions so far. And then after that, we're going to dive into, a couple of exciting use cases and more complex agents because I want to show you kind of the other end of the spectrum and what you can get if you put a little more time into building AI agents.
Yeah, one I think pretty important question that people are asking is about like data privacy. How will their data be fed into MindStudio agent? So if you could
Yeah,
cover that, that'd be great.
absolutely. Yeah, actually, I should have covered that at the beginning of our presentation. We Our platform is incredibly secure. We use the enterprise grade encryption tools. All of your information, uh, when you give information to the AI model, that data, none of that data is ever used in AI model training. It stays specifically on your account, and only you have access to that information. The only time that the AI model has access to the information is when you actually give it the information in the prompt. None of it's used in training. We have a trust center. We are SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. We are GDPR compliant. We're looking to get ISO. I forgot the ISO code, but we're looking to get an ISO certification in the next quarter as well. Um, so feel free to take a look at our trust center. But we use all kinds of different encryption tools. And then the other thing I will add is we have massive government entities using our platform. We have large organizations using our platform. Yeah, feel free to visit trust at mindstudio.ai. But you can see if we just go to our even just our homepage here, there are companies like folks from Adobe and Microsoft, and this company Advanced Local has over 400 different AI agents. This is a very large news publisher with that whose parent company I believe is like Condé Nast, that like does a bunch of news work to get information from different sources across the web. Um, HMRC, the British tax authority, uses MindStudio agents for HR recruiting. So a lot of sensitive information running through these agents. And I will say, if all of these organizations can trust us, you can trust us as well. Like your data is very secure here. Sonal, you have a question? Did I pronounce
Yeah,
that correctly?
hi. It's a very informative session. Thank you for that. I have a question because we are trying to make a couple of agents for the different kinds of courses, and your team will be helpful to embed in the LMS system, like a learning management system. They are going to help us because we are looking for making like more than 50 agents with the different backgrounds of courses. That is my question.
You're saying, are we available to help your team?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we take things on a case by case basis, but if that is a requirement for your business, like feel free to contact us. And then someone from our team will get in touch, kind of understand what your requirements are and what specifically you need. We do have again, it's on a case by case basis, but we can dedicate resources to helping you build agents or to help train you and your team on how to build agents. Again, it's really easy to do. So, um, I would also recommend, if you spend like an hour learning this stuff, you can already make really amazing
So
and powerful
I have
agents.
made
But
this, yeah, I have made this in 2023 when you are new in the market, like a Mind Studio was like
oh, okay,
just in 2023. I have made my first economics agent,
okay,
which is like my most of the students are working on it. But I am thinking of to make it like a bigger scale and put in the embedded in LMS system. So that would be helpful if somebody can help us as a team and we can go forward.
Sure, yeah. Feel free to reach out via our contact form. It's available here. I will show you. Let me share my screen one more time. So, depending on your requirements, just click on this contact us form for our business plan,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody will be in touch with you once you fill this form out. Kind of, we're just looking to understand kind of what your requirements are, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. And again, like if your team needs training, we also offer boot camps, right? So we have I showed you guys a bunch of learning resources so you can access these video courses. But if you want specific like corporate trainings or individual training, we have this. We have these boot camps available where we have a bunch of folks. Um, Coming through and learning how to build these AI agents. We're doing these. We actually have a free 1 day boot camp coming up, which is the half of our 2 day boot camp session. Um, I think Josh has might have a link for that if we're making that available to folks. I'm not sure. Um, but we basically run we have a 2 day boot camp where you can basically go from zero to hero really fast. It's like a crash course where you're like, I've learned so much. You get access to myself and to our CEO Dimitri for a couple of days to ask whatever questions you want, as well as learn like starting from nothing how to build multi-step more complex agents that are able to pull data, process it, send it somewhere else, all of that good stuff. And then, you likely, we have this join a free workshop, but that's kind of, you know, you're learning in the free workshop right now. And then we also have a 30-day coming up in January where we're partnering with, um, uh, I think we're about to partner with some universities on offering like a 30-day course as well. So stay tuned for that if that's something you're interested in, or it might be, you might be able to see those cohort dates coming up shortly. Well, we'll post those at some point when we're all set up for that. But we'll be offering a 30-day boot camp as well that kind of covers like start to finish. You'll build like 15 to 20 agents as well as have this capstone project. You'll get a certification from us, all that stuff. So, um, yeah, highly recommend for people that want to kind of take the next step in their learning. Although I also recommend you can learn so much just by going to our video courses here. Um, yeah, Josh, if you wouldn't mind sharing our Luma calendar um, for when these and our circle for when these next sessions are and boot camps and all that good stuff. That's the link to kind of you know stay up to date with kind of what's happening with MindStudio education. Any other questions so far, Jeff?
Hi, thank you. Um, you kind of, when you were discussing earlier, you sort of answered my question, but I would like to build a multi-step agent that researches based on a niche that I give it, compiles a up to 30-day topic calendar, and then publishes daily to social media, Facebook, uh, and that sort. Is that supported? Is that something I can eventually do?
Oh yeah,
As okay.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you could build that in like a an hour, couple hours, if you want to. And then I'll also be demoing like we have this deep research agent that is really useful that everyone has access to. It's a paid agent, but it also is able to, you know, research any topic that you want, and so you might be able to incorporate that into your workflow. But it's totally doable. We have a whole block actually. Um, I won't go too deep into it, but if you look up deep research, we actually made a whole block that does deep research for you. This is like an AI agent that we turned into a block because people were using it so much. So you could take this block, take the output of it, link it to another block. All it is just these workflows. So if you're able to think through that systems thinking and that automation, it should be totally doable. Everything you said sounds very doable on the platform.
Thanks for that. Just quick follow-up. I noticed I just specifically looked for a post to Facebook block, didn't see one. Is there a
Mhm.
workaround like with an API call or something that I can
Yeah, so
do that?
if you, good question. If there is any um, block that you are interested in, um, like for us to make available, there's kind of two options. One is you are certainly welcome to use this HTTP request block, and that will allow you to um, make an API call to whatever service you want to make a call to. And then secondarily, we have this section of connectors where we kind of pre-make all these blocks. Will require your own API keys, but you can connect to a bunch of different services, and then you can actually request a connector here at the top right. Um, yeah, so even though it's not available right now, by either using the HTTP request block and kind of doing it DIY style, should still theoretically be possible.
Excellent. Thank you again very much.
Of course, yeah. Awesome use case. Looking forward to hopefully seeing it live soon. Any other questions? I saw there was another hand raised. Did we answer your question, sir or madam? I didn't see you had their hand raised. No? Okay. Any other questions you noticed, Josh or Lewis in the chat?
I think that's all good for now. I think we can move on.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you do have questions, um, we can take pauses whenever we need to answer questions. Just feel free to use the hand raise feature. I think it's available under reactions, although I'm not seeing reactions on my screen. But yeah, if you see yeah, exactly, John, that's exactly right. Um, be like John, raise your hand. John, do you have a question?
Actually, I do have a quick question.
Okay.
We've got a process. There's It's probably about 3 or 4 hours of videos with documents. And is it possible to like watch and interpret a video and turn it into like a process? I mean, we've tried it with N8N, but it just doesn't really work, and it's quite costly. Is that something that MindStudio could do?
Yeah, so we do have this block that is called the Analyze Video block. Now, videos take a lot of tokens in order to get processed. So the cost is not necessarily something like I can't vouch for like the cost of it. Video's the most costly thing in this AI model space right now. Um, but you could use this analyze video block, and if you're able to break those videos up into chunks and then um, uh, upload the video and use it in this, upload them to YouTube and use the video URL here. Um, just put in the URL, prompt it with like what you're analyzing it for. You certainly should be able to very easily analyze whatever video you'd like.
I mean, we've looked at an alternative where it could read a video, watch a video, and it takes pictures of the image. Every time the image changes, it just inserts it into like a PDF document. So
Yeah,
your 1 hour video is basically a 1 hour transcription with the screenshot of every time the video changes. And I think
right.
the AI can read that too, I believe.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a bunch of ways to build these agents. So one is this video block. Let's say you have a document. Um, you could, or you're able to pull the transcript from the video. That might be much more cost efficient, right? And that
Right.
way you could simply upload the transcript um, in an AI agent. So we have this thing called a user input, and you can make inputs. And one of the inputs you can make is this upload file input that allows you to, upload any sort of file you'd like, including text documents or things like that. And then you can structure that data in a number of different ways where each slide, if your video is like a big slide deck, you could also export all of the slides from that deck as images and upload that, or upload it as a PowerPoint. Bunch of different ways to do it for sure.
Okay, no, that's great. That's great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
really, it depends on uh, what you're looking for as the final output of the thing, because just simply analyzing the video might not be the most efficient way to do it.
No, it's a basically it's an analytical tool, and this is just it's the instructions of how it works, and then from this information, I mean, we've had people build N8N. The problem with N8N is that every run was just so expensive.
Yeah.
So we're looking at something more efficient. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. And like we said, we anything involving an AI model is billed to you at cost, so it's whatever that particular model costs itself. A lot of times people will use an 8N and then they'll use MindStudio and they kind of say like MindStudio, N8N's more like Android, where like if you want like, you know, all techie customization for a bunch of stuff. You can build that, and that, or if you want kind of the iOS like easy to use interface, you'd go with MindStudio. But and then I believe that our actual AI automation is much clearer to use than N8N.
No, I can see that. No, this looks. I'm excited to try this.
Yeah. Well, let us know. And we also have, this is probably a good time to introduce our Slack community to everyone. Josh, if you have an invite link, this sounds like a perfect use case to like connect with other people in our community and kind of ask them what they think on how they'd build something like this. So I just recommend joining our Slack channel. It's a community Slack. There's a bunch of people building AI agents on there. Super friendly community that, again, I said this at the beginning, we're all here to learn and share learnings with one another. And I think that spirit lives inside of that Slack channel. So if you want to get more information, join the Slack, introduce yourself, ask some questions in there, and I think you'll find that you'll find a solution to that task pretty quickly.
Okay, thanks.
Of course. Any other questions, folks? Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone, and then I'm gonna take the last like 30 minutes or so, and I want to kind of show you we've built 3 agents in about 20 minutes that are all these kind of 1 to 2 block patterns of agents, right? Um, and I kind of want to show that that's what you can accomplish in like an hour of learning. Oh, sorry, were there still a couple of hands raised? John, did you still have a question? No? Okay. Sonal, you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. I have your MindStudio agent, and I just uploaded my user input with the text and all those course material which I am using. But it is not generating the image after putting all these generate text and analyze questions. All these things are working very fine, but generate image or the graph is not working. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, or is there anything I have to add on the feature for that? I'm not
Yes.
sure.
So I would recommend that that's not something we're really going to cover during this session. We're not going to like
Okay.
troubleshoot or debug. So I'd recommend that you make a post inside of Slack or inside of our community forum, and then someone
Okay.
from the team can help you out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. Okay. So we built these like couple agents that are just these 1 block workflows, right? And these 1 block workflows, we primarily use them inside of the browser extension. I want to take a moment and highlight a couple of things. One is we have this a few different places where you can find examples of you know all kinds of different agents. One is this ready to use agents category. And you can take a look at every single agent, take a look at what it does, take a look at its outputs, and and actually see what a workflow looks like. And you can make a copy of anything that you find in any of these stores, right? I'm going to make a copy of this deep research agent in just a second, and I'm going to keep that tab open. And let's clean up all this other junk on my screen here. Yeah, to go ahead and delete all that. Oops. Hold on one second. Let me clear the drawings. There we go. The other place is we have a whole library of templates. And actually, kudos. And this is a relatively new category. Kudos to Lewis. Thank you so much for putting this together. But we're expanding this library, and this has a bunch of templates that do a bunch of different things. They're fully annotated. One thing we didn't cover is you can add these little notes to your canvas. And so all of these have been annotated with notes to kind of show you how each of these templates works. And so a big shout out to Lewis for putting this together. And then lastly, we have this community section where you can actually create an agent and submit any agents that you find interesting to the community. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that you can take a look at any of these agents and make a copy of the agent. So let's take a look at this deep research agent for a second. First off, you can see that this workflow is much more complex than what we just built. This is kind of the other end of the spectrum. If you can learn for 1 hour, you can build those small 1 to 2, 3 block agents really easily. If you take an afternoon, a couple days, you're able to build stuff like this, right? And this agent can do amazing, amazing things. Let me show you an output of this. You can see the recently shared stuff. Let's see what looks interesting. Mainframe software market leaders. Okay. So when we open this up, keep in mind every single portion of this report was generated using AI, right? There are a bunch of steps in order to get this, but all of this is AI generated, and that includes this thumbnail, that includes each of these sections, all of the text from these sections, this takeaway. This is a full web page that has been rendered. You can make these really high quality outputs, right? There's a whole section, overviews and trends and graphs. All of these images were either generated by AI or sourced from AI. And it gives you this full research report. Uh, it takes a few minutes to run, but when you finish, you get these like amazing, amazing outputs from all of the deep research on the web that it does. And in addition to that, it also has a bibliography so that you can take a look at where it pulled all this information from. It does all of this via this workflow here. And you can make a copy of any agent you find in our store to see how it works. So let's go ahead and make a copy of this agent here. Now, you'll always be presented with this welcome page. When you get to these workflows, you can see that there are folders on the left-hand side. There's this thing called functions that we're not going to dive deep into, but basically allows you to expand the capabilities of MindStudio and have your own custom code in here, whether that's JavaScript or Python. And so this person has created a bunch of custom functions that they're running in their agent. It has several different user inputs. If we look at the main flow here, we can kind of follow what this agent does. It starts, and then inside of we have this onboarding flow that asks kind of what you want to research. We then have this logic block, and this logic block is super cool because it will route the workflow in different ways using an AI model. The AI model will actually be the one to make the decision of which of the two paths is more likely, so that's super cool. And so it basically says if it's gibberish, it's an invalid request, then we're gonna ask them to redo the whole thing, right? But if it's legit, then we are going to enrich that request. And there you can see these prompts in here. It as a much longer prompt, it's going to enrich the request, and then it's going to build a research plan based off of both the enriched request and the original request. And then there's this user context block, and this user context block will actually ask follow-up questions, AI generated follow-up questions that the end user will fill out, and it'll be multiple choice questions, or form fields It's so if I typed in, tell me about um, desert survival or um, space travel or something, it will ask those other contextual questions like, okay, you said you wanted to learn about space travel. What specifically about space travel do you want to learn about? Do you want to learn about, rockets and engines? Do you want to learn about survival on extraterrestrial planets? It'll kind of get that extra layer of context so that it can research the right topic. And once it has all of that information, it will start to do the research itself. Creates this broad research plan where it goes in and creates several different search queries. And then we have this pink block, and this pink block is called a run workflow block. And that actually allows us to have a sub process running so that we can iterate through these long lists. This is one of the skills that we learn in this 2-day boot camp. If we have, for example, if we want to we have a list of websites and we want to scrape all of those websites and summarize them, we need to be able to iterate through that list constantly. So we use this broad research and it runs this run query workflow that generates all of these different permutations and searches Google multiple times and picks the right search results and scrapes those results, extracts specific quotes from those results, sends all of that back up, and then it turns it all, manipulates the data and makes the data all nice, and then it does there's this deep research block, which will use this run query flow again, and then it will format all of that data, and then it'll compile all of it into an actual report using all of that, all of those different variables that were created in this previous process. It then goes through, and these we didn't actually see an output with this, but this agent also has the ability to generate a full podcast. Let me see if it's in this one here. Um, Okay, so this actually, you can actually have this agent create a full podcast with synthetic voices that are talking about the topic that you'd like researched, and it can generate this podcast, and that's what this step does. It can source the images used for the research report. It can create the podcast with different voices using all of the information from the report. It can create all of the graphs used in the report. It creates the cover image that we see at the top, and all of these are running at the same time. You can see they're grouped and they run in parallel, and then it formats the report and then actually puts that report together into this HTML asset that is what's ultimately displayed to us. Um, Super, super cool agent. And once you learn all of these fundamental skills, you can actually build agents like this, right? The other thing I want to show you, I intentionally kind of keep it a secret for a little bit, but I want to at least introduce you to this concept, and that is you can actually get AI to help you build your agents, right? We have several tools for this. One inside of this generate text block, you'll notice that if I expand this, or there's this little magic wand icon and it says generate prompt. And if I click on that, I can just describe what I want my prompt to do, right? So I can say, write a LinkedIn post, right? And if I click generate, it will take a few seconds and it will begin to fill out the prompt for me. And all I need to do is simply review it, keep the things that make sense, delete the things that don't make sense. And we can also edit this in full screen so we can see this, write a professional LinkedIn post, be concise, ensure all content is valuable. So all we need to do is add the context at the top for what we're writing the LinkedIn post about. But it basically wrote all of this for us. We didn't have to do really any work here. We also have the ability to generate an entire agent, right? And so you can click on this generate agent button, and this is actually another agent that we've built to help us generate agents, right? There are a lot of tools, and I will preface this with a caveat. If you use this tool, it is going to this agent can sometimes overbuild it will incorporate things that don't need to be incorporated, right? We're constantly fine-tuning this thing. And then secondarily, if you don't have those fundamental skills, like what we saw in this deep research agent, where we're able to actually follow the automation logic, it might actually build something and you're not able to configure it because you don't have the core skill set to do it yet. And so it's really important that when you ask it to build something, like for example, let's say I wanted to track website changes and email me updates. It might build something and I need to be able to make sure I'm able to follow what's happening in each block of that workflow. So this agent's called the architect, and it's super helpful. I use it as a sounding board sometimes. I like to build everything from scratch. That just because it helps me understand, like I know what that agent is doing no matter what. There's nothing hidden from me because I built everything myself. Um, but this agent's really good at kind of thinking through that system, right? Thinking through exactly, how if an AI were able to reason through this, um, how it would build the agent. So let's say it's saying I need some more information. I can say I want to scan tech meme every morning and find uh, all of the AI news articles. And it will, once it has enough information, it will begin building a plan for us. And again, the way you access this agent is in your workflow. You click on Generate Agent, and it will take you to this architect. Now, again, keep in mind when you use this architect, you are using AI models. Like this is something that incurs usage. So keep that in mind as you begin to build these things out. So you can see it's going through this process of drafting a spec, and then it's going to uh, give us kind of a one-page spec of what it thinks this agent should look like, right? And I find it super helpful when thinking through the problems that I'm trying to solve, right? Um, this might take a couple of seconds, but you get essentially this agent proposal that goes through, outlines each of the workflow steps, each of the variables that it's looking to use, the block configurations themselves. And if again, this is just our checkpoint block, we can continue chatting with it and say, hey, this doesn't make sense, or we can modify it on our own. When we're ready, we click on build and it will actually begin building this entire agent for us. Right. And again, it's important you understand all the fundamental concepts. This is a really cool tool to use as a sounding board as you begin building. Vikesh?
Uh, I just want to quickly ask, how did you get to this architect V2? How do we get to that?
Yeah, so if you are in your own project, you can click on Generate Agent here at the bottom left,
Oh, okay.
and that will take you to the architect.
Oh, so one way is using the blocks to build it ourselves. The other way is use the generate agent to write a statement and let it build it for you.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And the architect, keep in mind the architect is not perfect. It can make mistakes, or it can build things that aren't necessarily needed in your workflow. So here it finished building. If I open up this agent, let me open this up. It's going to import that entire workflow, and I can see here, it renamed all of the blocks, right? So we have a scrape URL block that scrapes tech meme. We have this set on a schedule, and it did a pretty good job this time, right? Extract all news articles, filter out the AI news articles, format into an email digest, check to see if the articles exist, I guess, and then actually email me the digest. And this looks like it is updating like a global value with like all of the previous articles we've scanned. So in this case, it actually did a pretty good job. We're able to kind of follow it step by step. This is generally how I would build it if I were building it myself, right? For things that are more complex, it might build things that you don't necessarily need. So I recommend using this. if you just want to see kind of how an AI trained by MindStudio agent builders um, builds an agent for you, and then incorporate what you learn from this agent into your own builds. Um, did you have another question, Vikesh?
Oh, no, I just had to lower my hand.
Oh, okay. Okay, no worries. No worries. Ron, you have a question?
Sorry, yes, please. Um, I've got a couple of questions. One is do you have any recommendations for courses on workflow analysis? I've got Six Sigma black belt and all kinds of that stuff, but it's been a couple of years. And I have
Um,
two other questions after that.
yeah, I mean, the recommendation, like what I typically recommend to folks is if you're interested in learning how to build these more complex workflows, I recommend attending one of our boot camps, as well as checking out our documentation. But if you're looking for specifically a course, hands-on learning, and a certification, our boot camps will teach you how to build, basically from those simple agents that we look through in this workshop all the way up to that deep research agent, iterating through a large list of items and processing large lists with your AI models. So I'd recommend going to our bootcamp page and checking that out.
Okay, and two other quick questions. Are there interstitial points or points in between different segments? Is there a block that where we can tap in and extract metrics, or is that a case of writing our prompt so that it
When
creates
you
it?
when you say extract metrics, what metrics specifically are you
There may be,
looking for?
some metric like just message flow, something simple like that to start with, and then I know that I've done some
Yeah.
projects in the past with really complex metrics, but you export the base and then do the complex analysis later.
Yeah, that's actually how I recommend building these more complex agents is every step you can
Mhm.
um each time you generate something, you can choose to display it, right? Save it and display it. Um, you can also have steps in between, wherever you'd like in the workflow, really, where you actually either use an AI model to extract specific points from a previous generation, or you can also create your own JavaScript or Python functions to extract values from like a
Mm,
CSV or something like that if it's generating data or analyzing data or things like that. There are many different ways to kind of configure what you're talking about based off of your use case. So I'm just going to broadly say yes. Um,
okay,
and
I'll
then
figure it out.
additional, yeah, and then the last thing is this, not the user context block, but we have this checkpoint block that we showed you where you can kind of display the output and choose whether or not to approve it, modify it before moving on to the next step in the workflow.
And the last quick question, thank you, is what type of alert systems are there for something like if an API goes down or a link is lost?
Yeah, good question. So we have you'll if let's say you run your workflow and your agent errors out for some reason, we will send you an email alerting you that the run failed. Additionally, one thing I didn't cover, oh, bless you, whoever whoever sneezed. Um, One thing we didn't cover is all of these agents. Uh, when you build an agent, sorry, I'm just trying to open up a previous run here. Actually, I was going to show you this other agent that we built. I was going to show you this agent that basically can extract people from a web page and upload them to a CRM automatically. But I think
Mm,
might not have we might not have time to like go through it in depth, but it's still a pretty cool use case. But this ICP to HubSpot CRM, this is an agent that we built and basically allows you to enter an ICP. Let's go to our main workflow here. Allows you to enter an ICP via this form, and then it will find basically search a database of people, enrich those people, and send them to HubSpot automatically. And all of these agents, when you run them, they have these run logs via this thing called the debugger. And the debugger will actually show you the full run from start to finish, where you'll get detailed logs of every step that occurs
Mm, okay.
in your workflow. So we didn't really cover this during this session, but this is one of the most useful tools when analyzing AI agents because you can not only see, each of these steps is essentially the block in the workflow. As you can see, it started, there was a user input, set run titles, it executed, a function, then did this people search, it got this data back, and you can see what's happening at all of the logs for each step, how much each step cost, the latency of each individual step, and let's say it errors out for any reason. So, for example, here we had an error executing this workflow, 6 of 25, right? That's this workflow here. You can see the what happens in the error, right? Failed to create contact. This is the error that's coming back from the HubSpot API, right?
Right.
Um, Additionally, let's say you can't quite debug what's going on in your workflow. You can actually click on this Generate Insights button, and this is an agent that we've built into the debugger that will take a look at the entire debugger log and provide recommendations for how to fix your workflow. So a super helpful agent that a lot of we eat our own dog food, so we will tend to build these agents and use them and build them into our platform as features for our platform, and this is one of the examples of that. You can also, when it comes to alerts, that's really the main alert, but you can also set up different kinds of notifications when a workflow has completed running.
Mm,
So I'm going to go to just this. This end block has this thing called notifications, and so you can choose to um, get notified via email when a workflow has finished, or get notified via Slack when a workflow has finished. Um, so hopefully that answered some
uh,
questions, gave you some
I
options.
can't wait for the next week. I'm going to dive in and dedicate to this. Thank you very much, Louis.
Amazing. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, excellent.
John, you have a question?
Yeah. So next week I'm signed up for the 1 day thing, and I'm
Okay.
very excited about that. And I know coming up a few weeks later is a 2 day boot camp. And I think you mentioned that 1 day free thing is really day one of the two thing, but maybe I misunderstood. Or is the 2 day its own entity?
The 2 day is its own thing. So you have to, a lot of the concepts that we cover in the 1 day will also be covered in the 2 day. But it's not, it's not one to one. Like we're going to learn different things in those two different sessions. We might have similar talking points and we might have actually similar lessons, but that's because the 1 day is intended to be this like foundational skills session. Um, and we teach those foundational skills as part of the 2 day. The 2 day gets updated, by the way, every time that we run it. We find things that work, we find things that don't work, and make adjustments every time we run that 2 day boot camp. So even if you took a 2 day and you take it again, it's got our lessons might be slightly different, and we might approach a specific topic in a different via a different angle than we did last time.
Got it. And that's pretty amazing to have this full 1 day program.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what you can accomplish just by dedicating a day to learning this stuff. Like we dive deep for those that are interested in this 1 day boot camp. We're going to dive deep into the fundamentals of prompt writing, context engineering. We're going to build, I think, 5 or 6 agents in 1 day. And those agents are going to range from these like one block pattern agents that we covered at the beginning, all the way to agents that are able to um, extract. I think we do one where we extract values from a website. We do one that is an email agent that triggers via email and is able to extract people and action items from a long email thread. So one of the examples that we didn't get to cover today is basically this idea of like, oh, somebody includes me in this long email thread. I have no idea what's happening. I can just forward that email thread to my agent and it will just tell me, hey, here's everything you need to know about what's happened. Here's the timeline of events. Here's who's responsible for what. We kind of build that agent, um, as well as I'm trying to, well, we build like 5 or 6 agents. They all start to get fuzzy between the boot camps, but if you're interested in any of that stuff, super valuable. We also teach you how to generate images, and that's pretty simple. But how to actually use AI to help you generate better images, is one of the concepts we cover. A lot of interesting stuff that we cover during those sessions.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, John. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely.
We've got about 8 minutes, folks. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, I kind of want to show you this example. Oh, I see, Chris. You have a question?
Yes. Hey, Luis.
Hey.
Just a quick question. So I am trying to create an agent to analyze crypto assets, and the
Okay.
output is following exactly how I prompt it. It's just analyzing the wrong asset. So if I'm trying to analyze Solana, it will give me
Uh-huh.
the output for Chainlink.
Okay.
And I was just trying
So,
to figure out like what did I go wrong? Do you want me to share my screen?
um, we there, I'm going to give you a couple recommendations.
Okay.
This workshop's not really like a troubleshooting session. So I recommend that you post, definitely recommend you post in our Slack. People will are really happy to like go in and answer these kinds of questions. But I will say, take a look at the prompt itself, and you might want to also include maybe a user input that specifies the actual currency that you're looking to analyze so that every time you run the agent, you can quickly type in, like, tell me about X currency, right? And that might solve the whole thing. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Does that make
Perfect.
sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like a cool use case. And I'm sorry we can't cover it now. I don't
Oh
want to
my God.
confuse like the rest of the people that are just seeing all this stuff for the first time.
No, it's all good. And it's a pretty advanced prompt too. So it has like a detailed like 10-step framework and everything. So it followed it to a perfection. So that was amazing.
That's awesome.
It was just the wrong asset.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Luis.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, again, are you in Slack? Because definitely post in the
I
Slack. Like,
just I just joined.
okay,
So
great. Yeah, that's the spot for all that stuff. So yeah, good. And we're periodically in there too, answering questions. So you might, if folks from the community don't have recommendations, just like feel free to, like just post, here, or like tag me in it. I'll take a look at it outside of
okay.
this thing.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. Ron.
Yeah, could you give us a quick overview, please, of your partner program?
Oh, sure. Actually, if Josh is around, he might be able to explain it better than I can. He is more involved in the partner program than I am. Josh, could you give us a quick overview, like elevator pitch of partners?
Yeah, sure thing. I'll try my best. Yeah, so we have a few different programs along with our partners program. So first is the partners, or we call it the affiliate program. And basically, once you're in, like you sign up, once you're in, you can get a 20% commission on all referrals that you provide. So that basically means anyone who pays, let's say, for a plan through your referral link, then whatever they pay, whether that's annual or monthly, you get 20% of that, right? And that's valid for like the whole year. So you could, share that to as many people as you want. Some other programs that we have is the ambassadors program. So the ambassadors program is basically people who really like to build on our platform. want to post it on LinkedIn, share it consistent on a consistent base. And what we provide there is a free paid plan for forever or until you decide that you no longer want to be an ambassador. So those are some of the programs that we have. Other ones we have team training. So if you really want to share, MindStudio, what MindStudio is to your organization or your team, we have these free lunch and learns that are 1 hour sessions where Luis or Dimitri, our CEO, will come in themselves virtually and just walk you guys through and your entire teams through building kind of your first agents, what MindStudio is, things like that. So I think Luis just posted the link. So feel free to check it out there. Slack me if you have any questions. Happy to answer anything offline. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and also with that affiliate program and the team trainings kind of combined, like if you're able to introduce us to folks who want to get a corporate training, like that affiliate still stands. So you'll still make that 20% off of that and off of the team training, not just the subscription to the platform. So if that's in your wheelhouse and you're like, people who might want to learn AI, we can pass you know get some of that revenue over to you as well. For large teams, could be a a year's salary in one sale, depending on how big the team is, right? Um, I see Casey has her hand raised. Casey, did I did I pronounce that correctly? Casey, are
Hi
you there?
there. Yeah,
Hi.
hi. It's actually Case. That's the name of my business, but my name is Kachi. How are you?
Good, Catchy. How are you?
I'm doing great. So just a quick one. This is great. I'm definitely looking forward to the upcoming boot camps that you discussed. I may have missed it. So could you provide again some instructions or more information on how to get on those boot camps or what the next steps are?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe we could share those links again.
Okay,
Uh,
great.
Josh, there's basically two links,
Mm-hmm.
Catchy, that you need to pay attention to. One is we offer a bunch of like free workshops and events via our Luma calendar. That's kind of our community events calendar. And a lot of like
Okay.
community members will also throw their own workshops in there as well, where people will like share learnings together. And then we
Mm-hmm.
also offer like a 2 day boot camp and soon a 30-day boot camp where you can um, be with myself and Dimitri for 2 days straight. It's like 2 full days of learning and get
Mm-hmm.
actual certification. We
Mm-hmm.
the 2 days like an L1 and 30 days and what we call an L3 certification because it's a little more challenging. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, those are also programs that are available to you. And so I think we shared the links in the chat. Oh, here we go. Yeah,
Okay, here we
perfect.
go.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah. So those are the two links to pay attention to. Um,
Okay.
Luma and Circle. Circles are boot camp pages.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. I'll check those out in
Thank you, Kit.
detail.
Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely. Stay blessed. Thank you so much.
You as well. Well, folks, we have a minute. Does anybody have any quick questions? Otherwise, we can get a minute back. Um, just want to quickly thank everybody for taking time and listening to me yap all day for 2 hours. I really appreciate it. Steven, you have a question? Oh, no, no. Okay. Or you're muted if you do have a question.
There you go. All right. Sorry. Real quick, Slack, Circle, I feel like then you talked about Luma events. Where should we watch? It seems like three different kind of community places to gather.
Yeah, best place is Slack. We post our events to. Well, sorry. Luma is our events calendar.
It's
So if
not
you
in so we can't go in Circle and look at your event calendar. It's in It's in Luma.
It's in Luma, correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're actually posted to both.
Okay.
So if you're on Circle, you will see all of the events.
That's all. I was just looking for like
Josh
if I
maintains
go to
both of
Circle,
them.
do I
Yeah.
got everything else and then I'm good.
If
Okay.
you go to Circle, you will have access to the boot camp and the events. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. Just was trying to get one place to look at. All right.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we should consider consolidating these places into one place. We discovered Luma and we found it just makes it. We originally had Circle and then Luma just made it so much easier for people to actually sign up and register for the events, and so that's why we started using Luma in the first place.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
yeah.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
Great. Take care.
No problem. Yeah. And thanks everyone again for joining. Remember, you just off this 2 hour session, like
Yeah.
you have the ability to create your own powerful AI agents that you can start using like right away. Oh, sorry, Stephen, you have one more question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you ever do boot camps for communities? Like I have a big healthcare founder community. Like, do you do one? Would you do one of these for just my community of, a couple hundred founders?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why
Okay.
don't maybe we can connect on I'll actually drop my LinkedIn here and then
Okay.
we can connect over LinkedIn. And everybody feel free to, um, uh, use this link to connect with me on LinkedIn. Yeah, definitely we can do workshops for communities, for, whoever.
Fantastic.
I love teaching people this stuff. It like
I
makes
can
me
tell.
excited. So yeah, anytime, just feel free to connect and I'll
Thanks a
point you in
lot.
the right direction. Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you. Um, cool, everyone. Yeah. Thanks again. I won't say too much. Make some agents. Try making an agent, right after this. You can do it in 10 minutes. Showed you how to do it in 10 minutes. Check out our documentation. We have a full video course. It's 100% free. You can take a look, MindStudio University. I have made a full course that you can follow video by video to learn all the ins and outs of AI agents. If you like hands-on instruction, consider joining one of our boot camps. We highly recommend it. The people coming through that boot camp have landed jobs in the AI space. They are now consulting for other organizations. They've built their own businesses doing AI consulting. We've seen a lot of success out of that program. And so if you're interested in that hands-on learning experience, join and then pay attention to all these workshops. I will stop talking and let you get on with the rest of your day. Go grab a lunch, go grab a cocktail, go do something productive. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you all soon. Bye, everyone. Thanks again.